Yeah.
I'm not seeing, I've lost my large screen.
Hi everyone, we're live now.
So welcome everyone to the meeting. The meeting is now called to order. Leslie Smith and Susan Kaplan have sent their regrets. The roll call has been taken by the clerk. I would just like to remind members of the Heritage Committee of a few procedural rules to assist in the meeting to help it run efficiently as possible. All members are to remain muted when not speaking in order to reduce feedback. All web cameras for all Heritage Committee members shall be turned on. Staff will be requested to join the video should answers to questions arise. Persons who have registered for this meeting who are speaking to applications will be brought into the meeting for the introduction of the item. Any member of the Heritage Committee should indicate their wish to speak by pressing the raise hand button in the participant list screen. In the event that connection service interruption occurs that affects quorum of the Heritage Committee, we may recess for up to 15 minutes to regain quorum. If it's not achieved, the meeting will be adjourned. Okay, I think that's it. So, and all members of the Heritage Committee participating via online video conference will vote by a physical show of hands. The chair will indicate to leave your hand raised until he has determined the result of the vote. Thank you for your patience as we navigate this new pathway. With that, item number 2 are declarations of conflicts of interest. Does anyone have any conflicts of interest with anything on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, we have no presentations or delegations. So we'll move on to items for consideration. So I have prepared a report with the assistance of staff as to the Heritage Committee priorities for 2021 as we kind of see them. So I'll go through the priorities very briefly, and then we can have some discussion around them. And there's a proposed motion as well in the report. So the first priority is to continue adding properties to our heritage register. As you know, we got those A list of properties done, and we have this rather large B list to look at over the next 3 years. So we're still working on how that is all going to unfold for next year, but that is obviously one of our priorities. Sustaining the Prominence Point Committee, we added in a candidate last year, which was John Turner, and he's up there on the wall. But we haven't had an ability to have a meeting to propose a candidate and verify one for this year. So the cost of $3,800 is for a new candidate for the following year. The Prominence Point Subcommittee also expressed interest in generating a Heritage Award. And so they need to continue to do that work there at the Prominence Point Subcommittee. Next, we have the Heritage Education Subcommittee. And there was a couple ideas generated here. So last year we had started developing some heritage walking tours before the start of the pandemic. So those ones, one is in the process of being developed and almost ready. Another idea that we had talked about previously was architecture bingo. And so we have found a way to do that as well through the city. And then finally, there was a suggestion at one time that we may do something, look into doing something like a heritage driving tour to highlight some of the history of the clubs in the community. Fifth is the Ontario Heritage Conference. So we did select some people to attend this year, and then the conference was canceled due to the pandemic. So we hope that we will have a conference to go to next year if there is one, and perhaps there's a virtual one. And if there is a virtual one, then we may be able to send more members, as there's You know, we don't have hotel costs and things like that, so we may actually be able to send more members of the committee. Next, we have the Heritage Grant Program. So this is the last year for this pilot program, and $25,000 was allocated for that previously. And finally, we have resources in case properties are designated this year coming up. It costs $1,100 for a bronze plaque. So we've kind of budgeted for 2 in the past practice. And so we recommend going forward with that in case there are other properties that come forward for designation. So that's my report on the Heritage Committee priorities. Can someone move a motion to get this on the floor for discussion? The motion in the report is that the Brantford Heritage Committee 2021 priorities be received for information, and that the estimated financial resources identified for the Brantford Heritage Committee priorities be referred to Estimates Committee for consideration during the 2021 budget process. So I'm waiting for a mover of a motion. Beverly, can you, or Cindy, do one of you want to unmute yourselves and verify what motion you're making?
Sorry, I will move to have it
As printed?
received. Yes.
Okay. Cindy, are you seconding that motion?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for doing that to get it on the floor. Is there any discussion on the motion? Everyone's happy?
Mhm.
Dan? Councilor McCreary, go ahead, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the good work of the chair in putting this report together, as well as the good work of staff. We've really done some good things in the Heritage Committee lately, and I look forward to more successes in the year to come. And I think what we've got before us is a pretty good program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rob, you'd like to say something?
Yeah, just with, excuse me, with regard to the plaquing program, are there any designated properties that we know of that do not have a plaque that should?
Perhaps that's a question for staff. I'm wondering if Victoria can answer that.
Through the chair, I'm Victoria Coates, intermediate planner. We do have a few properties that are awaiting plaques. I believe that there are 3 properties, or sorry, there are 2 properties and 1 more that we need to check, so potentially 3. So we do have a budget from this year that we are going to try and order at least 1 of those plaques this year, and then fill those remaining plaques the following year. And there's also just 1 more plaque that potentially will be needed next year, which is that 60 Market Street South property that council has issued the notice of intention to designate that property, but it's going through that appeal process right now. So pending the outcome of that process, we would also need a plaque for that property.
Perfect, thanks, Victoria. Rob, that answers your question, correct?
Yes, I just was making the point that for some reason, if we didn't have 2 new properties in 2021, if budget money could be used to plaque those unplaqued properties that are designated but don't have one for one reason or another.
Okay. Thank you for raising that point. Any other discussion on the priorities? Seeing none, then I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Missed.
Okay, I declare the motion carried. We will now move on to consent items, which are minutes.
Hey,
So,
Nathan, we lost quorum. We lost quorum.
oh,
Sorry.
who dropped off?
I'm just going to do a quick roll call just to see if someone maybe is having some technical issues. If you just want to give me 1 second. So
Yeah.
Nathan Etherington,
Here.
Rob Adlam,
Here.
Lisa Marie Jansen,
Here.
Jamie Brown.
Oh,
Might have been Jamie.
there. It was Jamie. I think she's joined back in. Jamie, can you unmute yourself and make sure that you're in here? Okay.
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, my connection is really unstable, so I'll do my best.
Okay. We were just at the vote, so we are going to redo the vote on the motion. Okay. Everyone's clear about where we are?
Mhm.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay. Hands down. All those opposed? Okay, I declare the motion carried then. Still had enough. Okay. So now we will move on to the minutes. So the minutes were included in your package, and someone who was here at the last meeting has to move those minutes. So would someone like to move those minutes? Councillor McCurry, thank you. And a seconder for the minutes? Sarah Clark, thanks. Are there any errors or omissions with the minutes that need to be corrected? Okay, seeing none then I will call the question on the minutes, voting on the minutes, approval of the minutes. All those in favor? Okay, we're going to do this again. I need to see enough hands, right? Okay. So I'll ask you all to raise your hands and then lower them, okay? All those in favor? Okay, hands down. All those opposed? Okay, so the motion still carries. Okay. So there are no projects and other updates, I believe. Does anyone have any updates for any of the subcommittees? Because I believe that none of them have met, virtually or otherwise. No? Okay. So there are no resolutions, no notices of motion. So I ask for a motion to adjourn. Sarah Clark, thank you very much, everyone, for a very quick meeting tonight. Have a good evening, everyone.